if your closest friend was going through exactly what you're going through right now, what would you say to them? Would you tell them they're failing? Would you list every mistake they've made this year? Would you tell them to just try harder and stop complaining? Or would you sit with them, listen, remind them they are not alone? You already know the answer. You've done it before for someone you love without even having to think about which words to choose. Hi, friends. Welcome back to English with Moon. Tonight, I want to talk about that gap, the space between how naturally we offer comfort to the people we love and how rarely we offer that same comfort to ourselves, the one person we actually spend every hour of every day with. Let's begin. We spend our lives learning how to be good friends to other people. We learn to listen without judging, even when what we're hearing is messy or difficult. We learn to show up, even when it's inconvenient, even when we're tired, even when we'd rather be doing almost anything else. We learn to forgive quickly, to celebrate their wins without envy, to sit quietly with them in their hardest moments without needing to fix anything, without needing to have the perfect thing to say. We learn all of this slowly over years through trial and error, through friendships that taught us what support actually feels like when it's offered without conditions. And then, somehow, we forget to offer any of that to ourselves. We interrupt our own feelings before they finish, rushing past sadness or disappointment, as though feeling them for too long would be some kind of indulgence. We judge our own struggles as weakness, the very struggles we would call completely human if a friend described them to us. We are quick to forgive a friend who cancels on us at the last minute, and slow, sometimes for years, to forgive ourselves for a single mistake made under pressure. In a moment we didn't choose and couldn't fully control. Somewhere along the way, we became the one relationship in our life where we never learned the basic rules of friendship. The one person we speak to daily, constantly, for our entire lives. And somehow the one person we never quite learned how to be kind to. Think about the last time a friend told you they were struggling. Maybe they said, "I think I made the wrong decision," or "I feel like I'm falling behind everyone else," or "I don't know why I keep making the same mistake." What did you say back? Probably something like, "You're being too hard on yourself," or "Everyone struggles sometimes." this doesn't define you. Maybe you reminded them of everything they'd already overcome, everything good about them that this one moment didn't erase. Now think about the last time you struggled in exactly the same way. What did you say to yourself in the privacy of your own mind, where no one else could hear? For most of us, it's a very different sentence. Harsher, faster to blame, less patient, and far less generous with context or circumstance. We don't say, "You're being too hard on yourself." We say, "You should have known better." We don't remind ourselves of everything we've already overcome. We simply add the new mistake to a long, silent list, as though we're building a case against our own character. We hold this double standard so consistently that we rarely even notice it anymore. It has become invisible through repetition. We give strangers and casual friends more grace in a single 5-minute conversation than we give ourselves across an entire year of our own lives. I want to tell you about a woman named Elena. Elena was a therapist, someone whose entire professional life was built around helping other people be gentler with themselves. Every day, she sat with clients who were drowning in self-criticism, and she helped them find a softer, more honest way to speak to themselves. She was, by every account, remarkably good at this work, and yet, in her own life, she was relentless. Every mistake felt catastrophic. Every slow week felt like proof she was falling apart, despite having spent years learning and teaching exactly why that kind of thinking wasn't accurate. She could see clearly and compassionately into everyone else's struggles. Her own remained a blind spot, the one place her professional wisdom never quite seemed to reach. She was going through a particularly hard season herself. A difficult divorce, financial strain, the quiet exhaustion of holding everything together for her clients, while her own life felt like it was slowly coming apart at the seams. And still, she found herself unable to extend to herself even a fraction of the patience she offered so freely to strangers. One day, her own supervisor, the person Elena still met with, even now, for guidance, gave her an unusual assignment. "Write a letter," she said, "to a friend who is going through exactly what you're going through right now. Don't hold back. Say everything you'd actually say to them, in as much detail as you need." Elena sat down that evening, expecting it to be difficult, expecting to stare at a blank page for a long while. Instead, the words came easily, almost too easily, as though they'd been waiting somewhere inside her for a long time. She wrote about how hard the year had been, how much this imaginary friend had been carrying quietly, without complaint, how proud she was of them for getting out of bed some mornings, even when everything felt unbearably heavy, even when getting up seemed like the hardest task in the world. She wrote, "You are not behind. You are exactly where someone in your situation would be. Be patient with yourself. This is not a test you're failing. This is simply what a hard year feels like from the inside." When she finished, her supervisor asked her to read it out loud. But this time, replacing the imaginary friend's name at the top with her own, Elena froze. She read the first line silently to herself before speaking it aloud, and something in her chest tightened immediately. The letter suddenly felt like it belonged to someone else entirely. Someone kinder than she believed she deserved to be. Someone more patient than she had allowed herself to be in months. She managed to read through it, her voice catching more than once. By the end, she was quietly crying, not from sadness exactly, but from something closer to recognition. The strange grief of realizing how long it had been since anyone, including herself, had spoken to her this gently. "That's the friend you need to become," her supervisor said quietly, once Elena had composed herself. Not someone new, not some idealized version of patience you have to invent from nothing. Just the one you already know how to be for everyone except yourself. You wrote that entire letter in 15 minutes without effort. That tells me the kindness was never the hard part. Aiming it at yourself is. Let's think for a moment about what a genuinely good friend actually does. Not perfectly. No one manages that just consistently over time. A good friend tells you the truth, but not cruelly. They'll say the hard thing when it needs saying, but they'll say it in a way that helps you hear it, not in a way designed to hurt. A good friend doesn't abandon you the moment you make a mistake. They don't disappear the first time you disappoint them, or use one bad decision as proof that you were never trustworthy to begin with. A good friend celebrates your small wins, not just the enormous ones. They notice the effort behind an ordinary Tuesday, not only the achievements big enough to announce publicly. A good friend gives you the benefit of the doubt, assuming you're doing your best with what you have, rather than assuming the worst about your character the moment something goes wrong. A good friend stays, even during the boring, unglamorous, unfinished parts of your life. The parts with no clear resolution yet. The parts that are simply hard, without any lesson attached. None of this requires special training. You already know how to do all of it in detail, without even thinking about it. You do it quietly and instinctively for the people you love every single day, without ever once congratulating yourself for the effort. The only question, and it's worth sitting with honestly, is whether you'll extend that same list to yourself, whether the person who has spent a lifetime being that friend to others will finally let themselves receive it too. The moon has always struck me as a rather loyal companion, if you think about it. Every night it returns. Some nights bright, some nights barely visible, some nights hidden entirely behind cloud. And still, it comes back the following night without fail, without needing to explain its absence or apologize for the nights it couldn't be seen at all. There is something in that constancy worth learning from. A good friendship, even especially the friendship you have with yourself, is not about being perfect every single night. It's about returning, showing up again, even after a night you'd rather forget. Especially on the dim nights, the ones that feel unremarkable, the ones no one else is watching. A friend who only shows up on your best days isn't really a friend at all, just an admirer of your highlight reel. The friendships that actually sustain us are the ones that return consistently through the ordinary nights and the difficult ones alike. You do not need to be full and bright to deserve your own loyalty. You only need to keep showing up for yourself, the way the moon keeps showing up for the sky, night after night, in whatever shape it happens to be that particular evening. Try this the next time you catch yourself being hard on yourself. Pause and imagine your closest friend is standing right beside you, watching you struggle with this exact thing. Ask yourself, what would they say to me right now? Not what would I say to fix this, or what would I say to move past it quickly? Just what would they say in that first gentle moment before any advice even arrives. Then say it out loud if you can, or quietly in your mind. It will probably feel strange at first, like borrowing someone else's voice. But over time, that voice becomes familiar. It becomes yours. And slowly, you become the friend you always knew how to be for everyone else. You might even keep a small note somewhere, your phone, a scrap of paper by the bed, with a few of those borrowed sentences written down. Something to reach for on the nights the harsh voice arrives first and won't step aside. Even reading someone else's kindness in your own handwriting can be enough to interrupt the old pattern for a moment. Before we close, I want to say this directly. I see how patient you are with the people you love, and how impatient you are with yourself. I see the grace you give so freely to others, and so rarely to the person who needs it most. The one you spend every single day of your life with. The one who hears every unfiltered thought before anyone else does. I want you to know you are allowed to be your own friend, not a stranger you happen to live inside of, quietly criticizing from the sidelines a friend. Someone who tells you the truth gently, someone who stays through the unfinished chapters, the ones without a resolution yet. Someone who remembers, even on the hardest days, that you are doing your best with what you have, in the circumstances you were actually given. You already know how to do this. You've been doing it for everyone else your whole life, for friends, for family, for people who came to you struggling and left feeling a little less alone. It's your turn now. Not because you've earned it, and not because you've finally become perfect enough to deserve it. Simply because you have always deserved it the entire time, exactly as you are. Write yourself the letter if you need to. Say the words out loud if that helps them feel real. However it happens, let this be the year you finally become the friend you already know how to be. And if the words feel awkward at first, aimed at yourself instead of someone else, that's all right. Elena's felt awkward too, the first time she read them in her own voice, meant for her own life. Awkwardness is just what unfamiliar kindness feels like before it becomes familiar. carry these 3 with you, if nothing else. You already know how to be a good friend. You've just forgotten to include yourself on the list. A good friend tells the truth without cruelty and stays through the unfinished parts. And like the moon, you don't need to be full and bright every night to deserve your own loyalty. You only need to keep showing up. Think of someone who's always the friend to everyone else and rarely to themselves. Share this episode with them. If you tried the exercise tonight, asking what a good friend would say to you, I'd love to hear the sentence you landed on. Leave it in the comments if you're comfortable. This is English with Moon. Be the friend to yourself that you already know how to be for others. Good night, friends.